Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Weather with Tim again. I hope you guys are all having a great Sunday so far, and as well as a great start to your day. And today is January 26th, 2025, and in today's forecast, we are going to be talking about a very wild February that is just around the corner, as we will be seeing the potential for a return of severe weather. We could also be seeing the potential for more big-time snowstorms like what we've been dealing with lately, and we could even be seeing some pretty wild changes in our temperatures, as we will likely be going back and forth between warm air and as well as cold air, which is one of the reasons why we are expecting the potential for severe weather as we get into February. So this will definitely be something to really keep an eye on very closely, as this is definitely not looking good for a lot of you guys. So we will definitely continue to watch the weather very closely as we do get into February. But if you are new here to the YouTube channel, make sure to subscribe to the channel and make sure to also follow along for more weather updates, as we will sometimes do more than one video on this channel. And I also do see how about 90% of you guys who watch my videos on this channel are not subscribing, so make sure to subscribe to the channel, as our next goal is to try to reach around 2,000 subscribers before the spring. So make sure to subscribe to the channel, and that would be much appreciated. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up too as well. Make sure to do that, and that would also be appreciated. And make sure to also share this with any friends, family, or anyone who you know on social media. If you guys would please do that, that would be much appreciated, so that way we can help spread the word out to everyone. But let's first start off by taking a look at the models. We're first going to start out by taking a look at the future radar, and as you guys can see, we will be dealing with some rainfall down there in the deep south by the time we get into tomorrow. Doesn't look to be significant, but it still could bring a little bit of rain, maybe even some rumbles of thunder. And then after that heads out, we will be seeing some clipper systems trying to roll on through from Canada, which could also bring the potential for even some snowfall across the Great Lakes region, back over there into the mid-Atlantic and as well as the Northeast. And then after that heads out, I think the more wild storm system, the more significant storm system that we'll have to watch for is going to be this one by the time we get into the beginning of our February. And this one's going to be pretty wild, because where you see kind of that round shape around the low, that indicates a pretty big dip in the jet stream, as we'll kind of have a dip kind of like that, which is kind of going to start letting in some warm air surge on in from the Gulf of Mexico, while that cold air from right behind it is going to try to surge on in like that, try to push all that warm air right there. And so we will need to watch the storm system very closely, as we could be seeing the potential for severe weather with this system. And just to show you guys that, if we take a look at the energy, you guys can see how warm, moist air is going to surge on in from the Gulf of Mexico, as we will have plenty of energy to also work with too as well. So we will need to be watching this very closely, as areas as far north as Illinois and Indiana could be seeing the potential for severe weather. It does not look like areas farther north than Indianapolis will see severe weather, but I still wouldn't rule out a few rumbles of thunder up there in the Great Lakes region. So if you do live up there, don't get too hyped up about this, as most of that severe weather is more than likely going to stay south of Lake Michigan. And if we do take a look at that, even though that energy will surge farther to the north, most of that thunderstorm activity is going to be focused farther down to the south, as you can see. Maybe some thunderstorms trying to get ongoing, but we will have very little moisture. It's not necessarily just because of the energy, but we will have very little moisture as far north as the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, and as well as the Midwest, which is one of the reasons why most of that severe weather, or at least that thunderstorm activity, is going to be focused a little farther down to the south than what you would probably think. But at least we won't be doing with anything crazy up there. So like I said, if you do live farther to the north in those areas, you probably won't really have to worry too much about severe weather. And of course, after that, we might be seeing another round of thunderstorms and severe weather, which this one could be a little bit more significant, as we'll have scattered severe thunderstorms ongoing across parts there of Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, back over there into the northern part of Dixie Alley, which is going to be as we get into February 5th. So definitely a pretty interesting pattern right there, as we will even be seeing some of that ongoing across Texas. And then most of that should be out of here, and the main focus is just going to be down there in the deep south by the time we get into Thursday, February 6th of next week, which will be over 7 days from now. So this is definitely going to be, like I said, pretty interesting as we get into February, as more severe weather, thunderstorms, and like I said, maybe even some flooding issues could definitely be possible, as we will need to watch for a lot of this. But since we are heading all the way out to the end of the mall run, this obviously is going to remain very uncertain as we are heading over 10 days out. Now, the next thing that we're going to be taking a look at is going to be our February forecast. So we're pretty much going to be looking at the seasonal models to figure that part out. So if we start off by taking a look at how much precipitation we could see as we get into our February, and as you can see right there, we will likely be trending above average across a pretty good portion there of the Northwest, and as well as British Columbia. While over here in the eastern United States, it looks like we are at least going to be seeing slightly above normal precipitation, but it looks like the bullseye is going to be down here towards the lower Ohio Valley, all the way back down there into Arkansas, where we could be seeing a pretty big area of maybe some severe weather as well, because like I said, we're kind of going to have that potential for some severe weather across this area, which, taking a look at this mall, just goes to show that we could definitely be seeing a lot of that across that area. And if we compare that to our temperatures, this is just going to be your overall temperature for February, and if you look at it, we can see how the warmer air is likely going to try to surge on in from the deep south, and it will likely surge on in as far north as the lower Ohio Valley. So pretty much areas from California all the way back over there into Florida will likely be dealing with those above normal temperatures. And if you look at these areas a little farther to the north, you guys can see how that cold air is going to try to surge on in, and it's just that the only problem is that since we're going to have a lot of this warm air, it doesn't look like that cold air is going to be able to surge as far down south. But don't always think that, because I do think we will more than likely see a cold shot sometime in February. Obviously going to remain uncertain, but I do think we will see a cold shot in February at some point, as this cold air is going to try to surge on down. And so we will need to watch that very closely in February at some point. Like I said, it's just that we are heading over 10 days out from when the active weather in February is expected to occur, and that's why we can't really say exactly how it's going to play out. But I definitely do think we could be seeing the potential, like I said, for more above normal temperatures, and like I said, maybe even some cold shots colliding with that, which could maybe indicate some chances for severe weather. Now, the next thing that we're going to look at is going to be our potential for more snowstorms. Let's go ahead and take this forward. And our next storm system that could contain a lot of issues is going to be the potential for freezing rain by the time we get into February 8th. Maybe. This is just a maybe, guys. So obviously something to probably take with a grain of salt, but I do think this could be maybe another round of snow and freezing rain to definitely keep an eye on. If we take this back, though, we actually don't really show very many winter storms off of this mall, despite some Alberta clippers trying to surge on in. And once again, we could still get a lot of that snowfall activity across the north, but I'm talking significant winter storms. Those other ones that we were seeing, those were just Alberta clippers. This one that we're looking at could be a real big time winter storm, and the reason why we're watching this is because we're actually not heading all the way out to the very end of the mall run. We can probably head about this far out, because obviously that one right there is remaining uncertain. But if we take this back, like I said, you guys can see how that one is not at the end of the mall run. So I do think we will need to watch that storm system very closely, but obviously way too far out to really tell how it will play out, how much freezing rain and snow it will bring, where exactly it will occur, the timing, all those are going to remain uncertain, but we can see how there will be a winter storm at some point, so obviously make sure you are paying attention. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and look at our total rainfall and also our total snowfall throughout February, looking at the European model. And as you can see, if we take this forward throughout the month of February and into the beginning of March, once again, very active eastern United States with well above normal precipitation definitely expected. And that's one of the reasons why the European model was saying that this area right here was going to be the area to see the most precipitation, which does make the most sense. So definitely make sure you are paying attention if you do live anywhere in the circle, because once again, well above normal precipitation is definitely going to be likely throughout February, especially because we are getting closer towards tornado season. And if we compare that to your total snowfall, maybe a little bit farther down to the south, but I do think most of that snowfall that we're going to see is going to be trending north of this line, where we mostly see those pinks show up. Maybe some getting as far down south as the Tennessee River Valley, but I think most of it is going to be farther to the north, especially because we are close enough to the Gulf of Mexico to where that warm, moist air will be able to surge as far north as this line, which is why the lower Ohio Valley could even be in for some severe weather. But once again, though, way too far out to tell, and we definitely will be watching it for you, so make sure to subscribe to the channel, as we will continue to keep you guys up to date with the latest. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed today's weather forecast. Consider subscribing to the channel, as we will continue to do daily and accurate weather forecasts on this channel. And once again, our next goal is to try to reach 2,000 subscribers before spring, so that way we can try to help spread the word out to more people, and so that way we can go live more often. So make sure to subscribe to the channel, so that way we can try to reach that. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up too as well. Make sure to do that, and that would be much appreciated. Make sure to also leave any questions, comments, or concerns that you guys have down below. Feel free to leave anything down below, and I'll get to those comments in just a second. And I hope you guys all have a great rest of your Sunday, and we will see you in the next one. Thank you all so much for watching, and goodbye.